Ecco, bienvenue à Hyper Polyglotting avec Élise. Moi, c'est Élise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux, surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique, de l'acquisition des langues. 10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Nei. Nei. Man. Yen. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bangba, okay, Bangbas is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon. Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Facile. Sì, ecco, la gente... è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo. Io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi, dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io. I buy a computer or what? And here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for or sounds vaguely like hogun and the hok in hogun in Korean or waku in Japanese, and that's because it is the exact same kind of character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur, ça change chasser. Ses chassés sont son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt. Hola y bienvenidos al directo de Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. Yo soy Elisa, traductora, escritora y editora y comunicadora social con más de 20 idiomas de trabajo. Y aquí vamos a estar jugando videojuegos, sobre todo GeoGuessr, y hablando de idioma, la mejor forma de aprenderlo y caleta más. Zwei Zwetschgenzweigen zwitscherten zwei tschechische Schwalben. Tres tristes tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal en tres tristes trastos. Oh, I see. This is Diche Ishai Fui, which means, do you want food? But, yeah, are you hungry? That kind of thing. How are the boys? Cocine da boya. Poso Milao. Pote. Buenese. Proteine. Udros. Protopulo. In the designated chicken eating area, obviously. Okay, still 3 times I have to defeat him. And I don't have a whole lot of health left.
Leave. Monsieur.
See.
Live là. Liwe, live là.
Paks.
Mustan kissan paksut posket.
Maciej.
Yeah.
Ja. Si. Vysoký. Matěji. Proč? Víte. Počkej. A. Si. Track 6.
Aspri petraxes aspri aptonilioxex asproteri. Aspri petraxes aspri aptonilioxex asproteri.
Ben coginio panas.
Oh boy. Ferrad verda ferda vedri.
Jacob. Hefed.
Okay.
Hefed.
Okay.
Hefed. Hefed. Hek. 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 Саша по шоссе.
А Саша по шоссе несла сушку на счастье и сосала сушку. А Саша по шоссе несла сушку на счастье и сосала сушку.
Малина.
Juma ni mwalimu mke.
Ирак чимав чипах чемп чавю ченчи чини. Чирак чимав чипа да чирак чимав чипцах чемп чавю ченчи чини. Бакакит алшит. Хикрин. Бакакит алши хикрин. Oh, thanks to cat signs. Meow and the pictures of the fish. That's they were proud.
Sööpä. Kupu. Yrittävät. Uraista. Omena.
Are in the city center. And it's got some interesting aspects to it.
여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까? 여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까? 여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까?
Countries. Hi en welkom bij Hyperpolyglotting met Elise. Elise, ik doe vertalingen, redactie en schrijf in mijn 20 werktalen. En hierdie is die stream waar ons praat over talen en die beste en slechtste manier om talen te leren. En waar ons ook videospelen zoals GeoGuessr spelen. Om ons gaan. Hi and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I'm Elise, a translator, writer, and editor with 20 working languages. And this is the stream where we talk about languages and the best and worst ways of learning them, and play games such as GeoGuessr. Let's get started. Windows in order first. Child.
this could be North America, it could be South America. Yeah, but it could be kind of anywhere. See? That Rockies on the right side of the road, so I'm thinking probably North America. Old Creek Home. Yeah, English. Also, another indicator that we're probably in North America. If that is the case, then this is probably something southwestern or restaurant. Yeah, southwestern US is where I'm coming, what my preliminary conclusion is. Very southwestern. Still a large area. Let's see if we can narrow it down a wee bit. .575 area code. Familiar with that area code. We are definitely, I would say, southwestern US. Make sure the music overpowering my voice. Let's hope there should be a state route someplace around here. Find out. Sounds like this always does. Oh, hang on. That was a speed limit. Yeah, speed limit. Definitely. Oil derrick. Okay, that begins to seem like exit. Okay. Not exactly the best sign, but yeah. Or oil infrastructure. West. Must be Loving County. Well, no, it's Lee County. It's Loving. Let's see. There's Mentone, one of the least populated, maybe the least populated place, town in the U.S. This is Loving County. There's Lee County nearby. And great. Yes, Very cow. Schleicher. Ein schleichender Bezirk. Lesen. Nee, unleser nicht. Unbeschriftet. Sinnfrei. Schild. Okay. Wo wir aus waren es in westlichen langsam das andere Farbe. Doch besser, oder? Er ist echt weg. County, New Mexico. Okay, langsam. Da ist Lovington. Okay, so that could give us enough. Let's see. Someplace around here. 4978, 6.6 kilometers. Okay. Okay. Much prettier area. Definitely not the southwest. Palm trees. right side driving. Could be Indonesia, possibly. A lot of places so far. Right-sided driving. Well, now I'm beginning to wonder. It's technically left side. Yeah, it's left side driving. Okay. What does that put us? South Africa. Yes, it is. Hello, Hex and Definitive. How you doing? Sort of creature is this? Blue cow. Very skinny one. Of hanging around. Essa puttana. Yeah, definitely not South America though. Left side driving, and I feel that seems like an Austronesian language. So Southeast Asia, where I think we are. Get a better look at that. That might listen. Nasi goreng. Okay, yeah. Malaysia, I think. Indonesia. Not my highest score by any means. Okay, now I think we're back in North America. Huckleberry. Huckleberry's Family Restaurant. Right side Canada. We're in Canada. And in the mountains. So I'd suggest Canadian Rockies. So, probably Alberta or BC. Good food makes good food? What does that mean? Are they eating the people who work there? Firewood for sale. Fire within. Okay. Pine Ridge. Not exactly. A unique name. Invermere and Panorama. Okay, there we go. There's Wilmer. There we go. Perfect score. Okay. Any feelings that this could be Japan? No, it's Germany. Kleingladbach. Kleingladbach Süd. Nie gehört. Gladbach. E, sondern mit 2 T. Nie gehört. Wait a second, did that give us route? No. No, not. Okay. Ausmacher Dose. Familie Gutjahr. Kartoffeln. Okay. Freiburg, Stuttgart, Reutlingen und Kempten. Okay. That's a good clue. narrow this down a little. Klein-Gladbach. Never heard of it. Russian oil. Go in here, I will probably get more places. Can I? Not going to let me. Well, hell. Ludwigsburg, Vaihingen an der Enz. Okay. That does narrow it down. Place name gets in Germany, the smaller the place. Hochdorf an der Enz. Vaihingen an der Enz. Okay. There we go. There is more than one. Vaihingen. Okay, Klein-Gladbach. Which direction are we going in? That's northeast. Oh, no, why'd you do that, mouse? Putting it under. Insektenlehrpfad. The training path for insects. Okay. $49.99. Okay, 5 out of. Okay, well, the fifth one. Let's take a look at this sign. Just a stop sign. Central Sparran Scenic Route. That sign looks British. Okay? Yeah, definitely. This is looking like the English country. Somewhere around here there will be a dog pub with a meat rack. And a bus stop where the bus comes once a week. Yes, this is Britain. That looks like a British food bin to me. And make that out. The point of bin day on GeoGuessr, you can't even see the name of the report. That's the real problem. See local government these days. Bins are not GeoGuessr friendly. Wait, Carrick Moore. 6 counties. And like right on the border as well. Exactly. Eric Morrig is. Smuggling. Farewell to Carrickmore. Bloody hell, where is Carrickmore again? I don't think it's an Armagh. The Bog. It's a town called The Bog. It isn't on the border after all. Eric. Down Patrick. Ah, there's Carrickmore. Okay, not as close to the border as I. Northwest of Carrickmore. Can you hear it now? I was kind of mumbling a second ago. Let me just see. Okay, it's showing up on my OBS. Okay, well I can turn that down. Let's see, how's that? Always a bit of experimentation when I add new audio into the... There's ported down. Let's kill it. Who knows? Probably because I'm using Wi-Fi. Hello, Riveroon. Oh, wait, there's Cregan. Carrickmore. There we go. $49.95. Well, not my best showing because of Malaysia, well, Indonesia, but I recovered nicely. Part-time industrial estate. Yes. Yes, a mile north of a British occupation army base, although I think, at least there was one. Yeah, I got there a little bit late. Yeah, the time difference always. Let's see. Part-time industrial. I am going to take a little bit of a bio break before we continue here. I'll be back in just a moment. Hi, and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I am Elise, translator, editor, and writer with 20 working languages, and this is where we talk about languages and language learning and all sorts of other stuff, and we play games. Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
E l'ospitale
還元一級の先というのは、本当に誰も知らない字ばっかりでしょうね。私は... Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar är tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Ben neredeyse her gün okula giderim. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is skor, and that also means elephant. Okay. Ça, c'est ça, que c'est ça, non ça, c'est ça. Sol chi sa che nulla sa, ne sa più di chi ne sa. Ecco. Bonjour et bienvenue à Hyperpolyglotting avec Elise Moi, c'est Elise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux, surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique, de l'acquisition des langues. 10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Night. Night. Month. Yen. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bambas. Bamba, okay, Bambas is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon. Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré des généraux dégénérés. Facile. Sì, ecco, la gente... è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo. Io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io. I buy a computer or quack, and here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for or, quack sounds vaguely like hogun and the hok in hogun in Korean or waku in Japanese, and that appears it is the exact same kind of character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur, ça son chassé. Ses chassés sont son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt. Hola y bienvenidos al directo de Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. Yo soy Elisa, traductora, escritora, editora y comunicadora social con más de 20 idiomas de trabajo. Y aquí vamos a estar jugando videojuegos, sobre todo GeoGuessr, y hablando de idioma, la mejor forma de aprenderlo y caleta más. Zwei Zwetschgenzweigen zwitscherten zwei tschechische Schwalben. Tres tristes tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal en tres tristes trastos. Oh, I see. This is Diche Ishai Fui, which means do you want food? But yeah, are you hungry? That kind of thing. How are the boys? Cocine da boy. Posso Milao. Pote. Buenese. Proteine. Topulo. And I'm back. Oh, they told me of the German girls, the discos every night. But the only crack in South Armagh comes from an Armagh life. Okay, someplace in Britain anyway. Yeah, Glasgow. Hello, Joe K. How you doing? Okay, Carntine Industrial Estate, Glasgow. Where apparently, if you go to Glasgow, John the Duncan was saying, you have to go to a club called Mango. Yeah, sunny in Glasgow. That doesn't happen often. Ah, not too bad. Carntine. Okay, Carntine. Hamilton Street. Carntine Industrial Estate. Sounds lovely. One of the many sights you should see when you go to Glasgow. Anyone wondering, this soundtrack is stuff that I've been composing. Carntine Road. Got a street sign. I briefly was. Because we were in the 6 counties the last time. Cardoon Road. And so I was singing, we were near Carrickmore, so I was singing a song I know that mentions Carrickmore. Called Auf Wiedersehen to Crossmaglen. Well, the key there... Yeah, well, like, what software are you using? Auf Wiedersehen to Crossmaglen, farewell to Carrickmore. I've seen enough of Ireland, boys, and I won't be back for more. No, I won't be back for more. The recruiting sergeant, he told me, son, oh, army life is fine. But he did not mention mortar bombs or bloody claymore mines. So auf Wiedersehen to Crossmaglen, farewell to Carrickmore. Okay, where's the bloody Cardoon Road? There we are. And we're going north. Okay, we're good. Multi-track recording apps that aren't expensive. Well, there's Audible, which is free, although the best version was before they got taken over. So, like, before version 3, because they added a whole bunch of crap, a whole bunch of, like, bloatware and spyware into it. Audible is good. If you want to have the possibility, you can also do, like, really good audio recording, audio only and with video in DaVinci Resolve. That's the video editing program I use. Ah, not too bad. Wrong end of Cardoon Road. Yeah, and I mean, the nice thing about DaVinci Resolve is it's free. Well, there's a paid version, but the free version is extremely full-featured. I mean, it's amazing how much stuff you can do in it for a free program. I have not really... It's so good, I have not really felt the absence of the paid features. I mean, you can record audio and video and stuff, you can work on sound effects, you can even do, like, 3D animation and shit like that. It's great. Okna drzwi drewniane. We are in Poland. Wyrób, sprzedaż na wymiar. Poland is hard, I find, unless you're in a major city. Just not very well signposted. Rory. Pick the major looking road. How well do those work? Your TV and your tablet, wow. That's commitment. A street like this, I think, is more likely to have decent signposting. Hey, did I just pass the sign? No, I didn't. Poland is full of tiny one-lane roads in the middle of nowhere that don't really offer a great deal of information. Obieskiego. This feels like we're in or around a major city. A lot of new construction. These pavements. Rybnik, obwiednia północna.
headed southwest right now. Usługi transportowe. Linda Jore. Okay. Start with Warsaw. Hope that maybe Gordy is nearby. Wherever this is. You're thinking of kielbasa. Bratwurst is a German word, although there's a whole section of Poland that was considered part of Prussia for quite a long time. No, that is part of the Czech Republic. And that was only controlled by Germany, like, from 1937 until they lost World War II. Okay. Whatever this... Okay, this town is definitely called Jori. But I have no idea where Jori is. But everything about this feels like there must be some... Oh no, this is... That's not a place... That's not a road I want to be on. How the hell did I know? Yeah, there we go. Stick to the main road. The main roads have signposting. Bloody... one-lane roads in Poland, you get absolutely no information. This feels like I'm gonna end up in a city at some point. Another place I've never heard of. But let's just see. I'm gonna look at some of the major cities and just see if we find Jori or Rui or near them. Yeah, we stuck. Złotoria, Żółtki. No sign of it there. Already looked at Warsaw. Okay, Poznan. Jori. Not see Jori anywhere. Or Rui. Oh, wait a second. Sign. computer va diagnostica. And a route number would be helpful. Oh wait, there's a bunch of signs. Streets, not towns. It's Wypoczynku, świąteczna, wakacyjna, czasowa. Let's see. That's true. Yeah, getting even more lanes. That tells me we are moving towards someplace larger. Helpful if we got some indications of where that might be. Wherever this is, it's Roy. Name that did not help me. Oh, yeah. I mean, just clearly, just the bright lights all over the place here. I mean, it's a 3-lane road. Oh, we're back down to 2 lanes. Maybe fewer movie stars now. Even a bloody route number would help. Let's see. And yet this is some of the best infrastructure I've seen in GeoGuessr Poland. Wait, Americzka. I feel like I just saw that someplace. Sweden, Wahoo. Weird. Yeah, I mean, this is actually sort of one of the nicer streets I've seen in GeoGuessr Poland, which often takes you to places where the infrastructure isn't great. Raj, not Rui. Swoopy. Top level. DN Insit Yondisa. Okay, that's a route number. 750. Probably watching the other stream at the moment. Multitasking. Podne w Katowicach. Okay. Finally, a place name I've heard of, Katowice. Jori! We've got it. And there's Rui. Okay, so that's... Finally. Yeah, well, once you understand how the letters work, it isn't as hard as it looks. Because, like, those consonants, a lot of those consonant combinations actually come together to make a single sound. Like, SZ is sh, CZ is ch. So it's just a single sound, but they use multiple letters to get it. Okay, so Katowice. $49.95, one of my better scores for Poland.
Because a lot of Polish infrastructure does not look that good. A lot of the time you have these rural roads where there's bugger all. Okay. This could be anywhere so far. Well, not anywhere. Okay, so now I'm leaning North America. F-150s. Wait, is that a mailbox? Yeah, okay, North America. You don't really see mailboxes like that outside of the US and Canada. Yeah. That is a pretty specifically North American thing. There are a few minor things that can narrow it down really, really quickly. Another is speed limit signs. Is the US and Canada are the only countries without, English too, without round speed limit signs. In most of the world, a speed limit sign is a circle with a red outline, white center, and then the speed in kmh in the middle. In the US and Canada, they're white rectangles. Budweiser, shitty beer. And not even real, the real thing, real Budweiser is cut above. But they can't market it as Budweiser in the US because of this, piss stuff. Sue's in Manchester. Oh, we're in Ohio. We're someplace in Ohio. So let's see, get on here, though this will probably be some kind of state route. If it's a state route or a US route, then we can simplify this very quickly. Oinker Acre. Okay, see you later. I will be on at 11:30 on the Seagull channel. Well, welcome back. Yes, multitasking like that has to be complicated. We're in Ohio someplace. And I have a cool video that a friend of the stream actually linked, they linked me actually to a free ebook that this YouTube channel published, and I'm gonna link that to chat. See, if you've... I mostly talk about, modern languages here. But ancient languages are also quite interesting. And I've always been a little bit fascinated by cuneiform. And there's a channel that has come up with a book on reading ancient Sumerian. So if you ever wanted to read the complaint letter about Anna Shear's copper in the original, there's a free ebook at that link. Check it out. And they've also got a channel on how to read ancient Sumerian. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm very curious. Thought we could look at that in this last hour as we're trying to figure out where the fuck in Ohio we are. The channel is called Digital Hammurabi. Gonna link the video in chat as well. Learn to read Ancient Sumerian for beginners. I'm very curious about this channel. I've always found that...
Thousands of years ago, an ancient civil...
Hang on. Okay, that is the best resolution.
Civilization made unprecedented technological advancements. The mysteries of this civilization can be found in their writings, buried away for thousands of years. Scholars have
Some of which
deciphered
turn out to be complaints about the shite copper of one Eanashir.
these ancient tablets, and now you can too.
Okay, first of all, I'm already just loving it. This is just visually really nice. I'm enjoying the production value.
Learn to read Ancient Sumerian, an introduction for complete beginners.
This is the book that I've linked. If you want to read this book, just follow the link I sent, the Twitter link, and you will get it.
Is your guide to reading these writings from the ancient past. Get your copy today, and begin reading this long-lost language tomorrow.
Okay, that's the whole thing. But they've also got videos. I'm gonna look at one of them. As we try to figure out where the hell we are in Ohio. I always thought cuneiform looked really cool.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Lesson 1 of Translating the Past, Reading Sumerian, teaching through Sumerian grammar, little by little. And I hope you're excited because I am. Learning Sumerian is a lot of fun, like learning any other language, particularly a language that...
One nation under fraud, completely visible with spying and lying to all. Ah, Ohio. Dimensional builders. Like, how many dimensions do they build in? Are we talking, like, one-dimensional buildings? Where it's actually just, like, flat?
It is ancient and that can unlock things from the past. I hope you'll have a good time. And as we go through this, please let me know if you think we could cover things a little differently or make things clearer.
Now, one thing, I mean, I didn't really know much at all about Sumerian, but I read the introduction to the book. Apparently, Sumerian is a language isolate, which makes it even more interesting to me that we have any idea how this stuff is pronounced. And I'm hoping that he's going to go into that, because that itself is the sort of thing that really fascinates me, that people are able to reconstruct.
I want this to be
stuff.
very open from a communicative standpoint, so let me know. Give me your feedback. I wanted to open with talking about a trip that I took to the British Museum years ago, and it was
the Museum of Shit
after
We
I had
Made.
learned Sumerian, and I remember looking through the glass and seeing this and saying, I can read that.
That is a very cool feeling. I love that feeling. Okay, I know one symbol here. That is, there's a god being mentioned here.
And it was a lot of fun to sit there and read through the glass. I'm sure that people thought that I had mental issues, but it's okay. But I was very excited. It's a really good feeling to be able to look back at an old text, to look at a text something that's written in a funny looking script, and to say, I know how to read that.
Yeah, I mean, having had this experience, like, newly so many different times, that is one of the absolute coolest things about learning really any language. When you actually get to the point where that you just see some stuff in that language and it's like, yeah, actually I understand all of that. And you just, yeah, I mean, that is an amazing feeling. So where the hell is this? This could be anywhere in Ohio so far. Ohio has a lot of middle of nowhere. There's a lot of Uniopolis. What the hell is that? Hometown of Brent Miller. Never heard of Uniopolis. Lived in Ohio most of my life.
And really, to
Never heard of
read
it.
something like this, as difficult as it may seem right now, it's actually not too bad. And I think it's very reasonable to assume that if you watch these videos and you stick with this program, it won't take you very long to not only read what these types of inscriptions say, but to understand why they say it. So, and why they say it, what the grammar behind it, the grammar and the syntax. So,
yeah, let's get stuck in. Okay, Ohio 67.
So, lesson 1, we're going to look at essentially 3 different things. Number 1, how cuneiform signs work in general. 2, we're going to look at nouns, the characteristics of nouns. And then we're going to look at adjectives. And believe me, this will be a lot for one lesson, but I think it's the appropriate amount to give in the beginning. And afterwards, we're going to look at some exercises, and I'll put these up. Maybe we'll link it to Google Drive. I'm not sure. Megan will tell me how I'm supposed to do that. But there are exercises that are at the end of this PowerPoint, along with drawings of cuneiform signs, initial cuneiform signs. So you'll be able to work on your own at home, and of course email in questions or your work if you want me to check it, your translations. It should work pretty smoothly. Now, before we get going, I was thinking about this actually just a few minutes ago. I want to make sure that we set our expectations correctly here, and I want to lay down some, I don't want to call them ground rules, but yeah, that's kind of what they are. I've been working with ancient texts now for a long time, and one thing that I find over and over again when I teach ancient languages, I've taught Hebrew, I've taught Greek, I've taught Aramaic, I've taught Akkadian, Sumerian. Every time that I teach an ancient language, particularly at an introductory level, I see very quickly that there are people that want to take that little bit of knowledge that they have and run wild with it. And I want to caution all of you against doing something like that. I'll tell the story about when I was teaching Greek in seminary. I was up at the board before class started, putting some exercises up on the whiteboard, and I heard two guys, probably in their late 20s, sitting in the front of the class having a discussion. Now, these were first semester Koine Greek, Biblical Greek students, right? They probably knew some verbs and some nouns, and they could do some very basic translation from the Greek. And I remember the two of them. One was saying, you can see here from the Greek that Romans
39:92.
chapter 9 proves conclusively that God predestinates people to heaven or to hell. And the other guy said, no, the Greek is very clear that man has free will and that man can lose his salvation. And I wanted to turn around and slap the two of them upside the head, not literally, but, and say, look, just shut up. You two don't know Greek enough to make this argument, okay? You have so much to learn. Just sit back, and be patient, because neither of you have the expertise to make the assertions that you're making. And this sort of thing is just all too common. And so I want us to be able to balance as we go through this. On the one hand, not setting these super high, unrealistic expectations of ourselves that we're going to become, great Sumerologists and be able to translate through, difficult poetic texts within 2 or 3 weeks and make, great discoveries and, write papers. I mean, obviously that's really ridiculous, but I want us to set our expectations at a reasonable level. But I also want to balance that with not thinking that this is going to, learning Sumerian is some extraordinarily difficult and unattainable goal. In reality, again, after going through several of these lessons, I mean, if you really apply yourself with even a reasonable amount, I think you'll be surprised at how much you can translate and what you can work through. And maybe even more importantly, how you can evaluate someone's argument, even if that just means to evaluate their argument enough to know that they don't know Sumerian, or they can't read the text, perhaps like they're claiming. So let's try to balance that. I would hate to have anybody watch this video and think, well, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can learn Sumerian. But I'd also hate to hear about somebody saying, well, I've watched 2 of Josh's videos and now I'm taking on well-established ideas in Assyriology and retranslating Sumerian text because I know Sumerian now. Let's try to stay somewhere. That
seems like maybe a bit much of an expectation to have.
So let's start with how cuneiform signs work. Well, if you watched Megan's video on how cuneiform works, you know that a single cuneiform sign, can represent at least 3 different things, depending on the context. 1, it can be a word. For example, this sign here, the dinger sign or the on sign, can just mean heaven. If you see it, it can just mean heaven. It can also mean God, but here we'll just say it can mean heaven. A2, by the way, you'll hear some of these pronunciations. The letter E, we pronounce A. I know that sounds strange.
Okay.
I don't know how to reconcile that. I'm sorry. And when we say 2, that means that they're, well, don't worry about it. I'm just reading the subscript. I'll explain in another video what the 2 means. Unless Megan already did. No, she didn't. Okay. So A2, just for now, means house or temple. So this sign, if you see it, can just mean a house or a temple. Gal, that sign right there, can mean big or great as an adjective. And so, words, the sign can just represent a single word. Other words are mu, which can mean name or year or text.
That could be Argentina.
Ah, so water. Lugal, which means king. Nin, lady. So it can represent a word. However, a single sign can also represent a syllable. So that same sign that we saw in the last slide, the on sign, while if you see on, it can represent the word for sky, sorry, for sky or for heaven. It can also be the syllable on in this. This is a verbal chain. I'll explain what that means in probably not the next lesson, but it doesn't matter here.
Okay, we're in South
You can
America.
see that it's part of a string of signs. It's not. It doesn't mean heaven here. It's just the syllable on. So ga on do 11. This is another verbal chain. And mu, even though mu by itself could mean name or text or year, here it's just a verbal prefix. So it's used as a syllable, mu. Mu un do 3. And the same thing here. The word shesh means brother. So shesh ni. Here does not mean water. It's being used as a syllable. As part of, I think Megan talked about this in the last video. Ani means his, and so this says, his brother. If this is all a little hazy right now, you're right on track. You don't have to understand all of this. I'm just trying to give a basic introduction to how different signs are used. So it can be used as a word. It can be used as a syllable. By the way, when you start to translate, this will all become very clear very quickly. So a word, a syllable, or it could be used as a determinative. So a determinative, as Megan explained, is a word that is used. It's a sign that's used to indicate that what follows it or what comes before it belongs to a certain class of nouns. For example, that sounded really complicated. That on sign that we talked about, the thing that looks like a star, it can also mean dinger, which means God. Well, if you see the dinger sign before the sign for Inanna,
the dinger sign,
as I'm sure many of you know, a goddess, the script is telling you, hey, the word that's coming is the name of a goddess. So dinger, we put it up in superscript there as a D. Dinger Inanna means the dinger sign is being used as a determinative. We call that a divine determinative. The word ki means like earth or ground. But here, if it follows a city name, the city of Eridu, for example, or Uruk, if it follows a city name, they'll put the word ki, and that means that, hey, what went before was a city name, so we superscript that as well. The same thing with the word for bird, which is mushen. If mushen comes after something, a lot of times it's being used as a bird determinative. So the Anzu bird. So Anzu mushen would be superscript the mushen.
Now, there are a lot of languages that work like this, that will have some sort of a prefix that exists basically to tell you the type of thing. Like, for example, actually, the Bantu languages, a lot of them do this, where, like in isiZulu, that first part, isi, gives you a general idea of the type of noun. In this case, isi is a broad one, and among other things can mean that it refers to a language. Where in the hell are we? Someplace in South America. And there's mining going on. Those root numbers don't immediately... It's definitely South America. It's not Central America, and we know that. Is the stop saying say pare. In Central America, they say alto. I don't think we're in Peru. I'm pretty sure we're not in Chile. I don't think we're in Argentina either, but I could, I'm less certain about that.
And that tells you that what comes before is a bird. And the same thing with wooden objects. The word nish, by the way, if you see I I guess I should probably talk about that as we go through here. If you look in, where's my mouse? Yes. So if you look here at the S with a little caret on top, I think is what it's called. That's the SH sound. Instead of us writing MUSHEN, Mushen, we just write this S with a little V on top, so Mushen. If we do it an inverted V or whatever, or a little circumflex looking thing, because it kind of goes down and up like a sine wave, above a G, that's the N, NG, N, like a nasalized G sound, so Nish, Nish. This is really important. I'm just kidding. Anyway, Nish means wood. And so if you put the wood sign before a word, oftentimes it means that noun, which here is guza, a guza is a chair or a throne. And what this is telling you is that this is a wooden object, a wooden chair or a wooden throne. So these are called determinatives, and they determine what class the word belongs to. So nouns can, a cuneiform sign can represent just the word itself, like A2, house. It can represent a syllable. Well, let's use on, for example. I think that's the one that Megan used. On can mean heaven or sky. As a word, it can mean on as a syllable, so ga on do 11 as part of a verbal form. Or it can be a divine determinative, because it also means dinger, which makes sense, right? Sky, heaven, God, those things are all related. And the word for God is dinger, and so we superscript a D if it's a determinative to tell you that that is a divine name. Okay. If you're a little confused, that's fine. The nice thing about these videos is you don't hit rewind. Well, I just dated myself. You can click back. Rewind.
still stay
Remember
rewind.
VHS tapes? Be kind. Rewind. Man, I'm really dating myself now. Okay, I'm going to move on. Megan's laughing at
some
me.
kind of a
As well
sign
she
here.
should.
South America is huge.
Okay, how do I make my mouse go away? I'm going to do that. So you can't see it. You
Could
can.
be
but I
noun.
won't. Okay, so nouns,
Could be Mexico.
in certain languages, many languages, we have masculine
Make it
nouns
just
and
like
feminine
Americans
nouns. You don't
do.
have that in Sumerian. What they do distinguish, though, is animate versus inanimate. So something living versus not living, right? Or that's not terribly important. I just want to point that out. But there is no masculine or feminine distinction. Now, what kinds of nouns are there? What types of nouns are there? Well, there's a single sign noun. We've seen lots of those today already. A2 for house, lugal for king. By the way, lugal comes from, see, I brought my mouse back there. Lu2 means man or person, and gal means big or great. So lugal is a big man, right? A big person, so it's a big man. It's a king. Okay, sorry.
So that
You also have compound
it
nouns.
branches to the
So
right.
a dub sar is a scribe. Dub is a tablet, and sar means to write. So a tablet writer, that's a scribe. A2 gal is it's a palace. It's a big house, right? Go figure. So those are compound nouns. What I mean by that is you can see there are two signs that go with it. Compound nouns. So single and compound. Anyway. Plurals. How do they make words plurals? Well, I'm sorry, but nouns in Sumerian by themselves can either be singular or plural.
Like a lot of
so
languages, actually.
Lugal, depending on the context, could mean king or it could mean kings. They don't always distinguish whether it's something singular or plural. Now, they do have a way of doing that. They just don't always do it. If they put ene at the end of a word, that's a plural suffix for animate objects. So here, and we'll talk about why there's an R here in just a second, but dinger re, ne, you can see the ene. See it? And if you normalize it, I think Megan talked about that in the video, you have dinger, period, ene. That's the ending. So dinger, ene, gods.
Interesting.
Oops. Sorry.
I mean, I hope they get
also
into
can
how they
reduplicate
figured this
words.
stuff out.
So if you write
This is a
lugal,
lot of very detailed information on a language that is apparently not related to any known language, which always complicates things. Oh, hang on, there was a sign. Sign there. Like, and it looks like like an official government type sign. And those often will tell you what country you're in, which I still don't know. Very green. Not tropical, though. Anyway, so that is Digital Hammurabi's lessons in ancient Sumerian. Let's see, what else have we got here? We've got this Kanguro guy, The Secret to Perfect English Grammar. This is the guy who did that video on the myth of input, where he claims that anyone who's interested, who talks about comprehensible input, must be some kind of a grifter, because they're doing something that's based on research. And his argument was entirely based on how he doesn't actually understand the theory behind comprehensible input. Quattro problemi che bloccano il tuo apprendimento. The best language learning apps and why most don't work. Actually kind of curious about that. I mean, we've all heard of like Duolingo, which sucks.
ما فيش أي
This is Brian Wiles. I'm not familiar with Brian Wiles. But here's his channel.
تطبيق يقدر يعلمكم تتعلموا لغة جديدة بنفسه. آسف بس دي الحقيقة.但是最好的 APP 一定可以帮助你更快的、更智能的学习一种新语言。And in this video, we'll talk about what those apps are and why you should use them. The best app for absolute beginners. Maybe you're just starting to learn a new language. Maybe the idea of learning a language is sort of daunting. Maybe you're not even sure what language you want to learn. Rest easy, my friends. There's an app for that. Duolingo. You're probably already familiar with Duolingo. It's free.
Okay. So you're going to be saying that this is one of the best apps? Because if that's one of the best apps, that does not bode well for this list, because Duolingo's shite. 150 metros salida de camiones. Okay.
And it's very useful, although not for the reason you might expect. Duolingo's best feature is that it will help you answer some very important questions about yourself. Number one.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
One, are you committed to learning a language over the long term?
I don't think that it actually helps you answer that.
Number two, can you commit 20 minutes every day to studying? And number three,
I don't think that is necessarily a useful question to ask.
Most importantly, do you actually enjoy this?
And yeah, Duolingo is not going to help you answer to that, because, I mean, The thing is, do you enjoy language learning? The way to answer that question is to actually be doing best practice language learning in the first place. And Duolingo is exactly the opposite of that. Absolute opposite of that. It is the opposite of everything we know about what makes people actually acquire languages. So let me just say this, I cannot stress this enough. If you found Duolingo boring and annoying, that does not mean you don't like learning languages. That means you don't like pretending to learn languages from a shite app. Like, the way to learn languages, and I talk about this a lot on this channel, goes always through comprehensible input that is compelling and in a low stress environment. Listening and watching and reading stuff that you're actually interested in that offers you enough points of reference to actually really begin to make sense of what you're seeing and hearing in your target language. It is the opposite of Duolingo's like fucking fill in the blanks method. Okay, so I'm already not impressed with this list if this is considered one of the best apps. I mean, maybe it's by default. We'll see.
And of course, we want the answer to all those questions to be a resounding yes, because if it's not, honestly, why waste your time or your money on a more advanced product? So give Duolingo 2 weeks, dip your toe in the water with Italian or Swahili or Klingon, whatever you're into, and then ask yourself those 3 questions. And if the answers are yes, awesome, congratulations.
Yeah, except the thing is, if your answer is that you're not enjoying this, that does not, absolutely does not tell you that you're not enjoying language learning. It means you're not enjoying a shite app. You're enjoying the app inherently, then, I mean, there's no reason not to do it, but it's not a way to actually learn a language. And it's getting worse. Because they've actually, from what I've heard, started firing actual translators and replacing them with AI bullshit. Which is, I mean, that is a grift. That is, like, the AI bubble is already beginning to pop in some places. And the thing is that the Dunning-Kruger effect is very strong in the decision to like replace actual translators with these like entertainment only products, because mostly it's being taken by people who are monolingual and therefore are not in a position to evaluate the accuracy of the output of this technology. And the output of this technology is not good. So Duolingo is steadily getting worse, and it wasn't good to begin with.
Let's talk about some apps that can help you learn much, much faster. The best app for all-around language learning. I've got a hot take on this, so stay with me.
Okay, I mean, I would have called that a pretty fucking hot take, that last one, but go on.
Almost all the big-name language apps pitch themselves as a one-stop shop for language learning.
Yeah, I mean, and that already is sort of a red flag. But I'm not familiar with, let me see. Yeah, any of them. So, I don't have an opinion yet on them. But Duolingo is definitely, I mean, if that's his go-to thing, as something other than just like a boring fill-in-the-blanks type of game, I'm already unimpressed with the list.
They cover vocab, grammar, pronunciation, etc. And all those apps operate in more or less the same way. They teach you set words and phrases that get more and more complex over time, and then you get little...
Yeah, okay, so also not good. Also not based on what actually works to acquire a language. So yeah, bin these.
Tooltips on screen that kind of explain what's going on. And listen, that's not a bad way to learn. In theory, it's how every kid learns to speak their native language, right? But here's the problem. Those apps are all visual. They require you to stay constantly engaged with your screen. You can't do anything else but sit and tap. And after 20 or 50 or 100 hours, that can get pretty boring.
Well, yes, which is why actually why really successful language learning comes from finding stuff that is visual and auditory and that is actually interesting. And that's the problem with, like, yo llevo un sombrero. ¿A quién le importa, weón? ¿Por qué me debe importar si llevé un sombrero o no, weón? You know, with no context or anything like that, you would probably get as much out of just watching your favorite series on Netflix in Spanish dubbing as you would get, watching one episode of that, as you would get out of 1,000 hours on a program like that. Is memorizing vocabulary, filling in blanks and stuff like that. That is not actually how we acquire language, our first language or any other.
So what happens? Instead of using your phone to study, you open up Instagram, you check your TikTok.
Yeah, and let me just tell you, if you just go and find, Spanish language Instagram influencers or something to follow, or whatever your target language, or TikTok or whatever, that would be time better spent, probably. Even if you don't understand any of it, your ears are getting used to the rhythms of the language.
You like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, whatever. You're gonna lose focus and get distracted, and that is the ultimate progress killer. So what should you do? Use an audio-based app. Because if you're listening as you learn, you can do something genuinely enjoyable like going for a walk.
So far what this is telling me is that there are no good language learning apps, really.
In the park at the same time. Now, that may sound quaint, but hear me out, because that little bit of physical activity can make a world of difference. Why? Because it will help you stay relaxed in both body and mind.
Okay, he's right here. Mental relaxation is quite important. Stress is actually a progress killer when it comes to language acquisition.
And research has proven time and again that someone who is in a relaxed state as they learn will understand new concepts much faster and retain far more information over time.
Yeah.
Whew, so there's my hot take.
He's
So which
right
audio-based app is the best? Well, you've got two apps to choose from, and they're a little different. First is Language Transfer. This series is 100%.
Somebody actually sent me a message telling me that this seemed like a really good idea. I don't know anything about it. We're going to find out a little bit about it right now, I guess.
Free, and you can choose to learn 9 different languages from the absolute beginner level. Each lesson features the voices of a teacher and a student, so it's a little bit like listening in on a private class. The only drawback to Language Transfer is that there aren't that many lessons. Even the most complete courses have less than 12 hours of content, so unfortunately, your progress is
depending on the content, that's not a terrible thing. That doesn't make it useless. Because if it's like 12 hours of content and it's engaging content that you can actually kind of stick with, then that's pretty good. Because at the very least, you're going to, again, be getting used to the sounds, getting used to how the words are broken up and stuff like that. And that's always a good start.
Somewhat limited. App number 2 is Pimsleur, which is similar to Language Transfer in some ways, but it's got many more languages to choose from, far more content, and a lot of supplemental tools like vocab quizzes and flashcards that can help you make progress faster.
Vocab quizzes and flashcards, useless. Don't bother with them.
Faster. Pimsleur does require a monthly subscription. I think it's worth it, but I'll put a link for a 7-day free trial in the description box below. Check it out and let me know what you think. The best app for building your vocabulary. Sometimes it's just about memorizing more words. So let's talk about an app that can help you.
It's never about memorizing more words. That does not actually help. That's worthless, actually. And it's also boring. So
you do that as quickly and effectively as possible. And again, it's free. Anki is the OG of flashcard apps. It's been around for almost 20 years and it's a workhorse. Here's why. If you choose, you can of course use Anki to create your own flashcards, and that's deeply useful in its own right, but here's the secret sauce. Anki allows users to upload their flashcard decks to a portal called AnkiWeb, and then any other user can then download that deck onto their own device. And because
memorize, that's really just not, because, for some things, like for example, if you're trying to learn characters, if you're trying to learn kanji, trying to learn hanzi, then memorization does play a role, but context again is essential even for that. But like memorizing vocabulary words, that is not how anyone acquires vocabulary. So I would not really.
Anki decks are infinitely customizable. There are tons of fantastic decks out there that you can download without spending a dime. For example, here's a deck that I use for studying Japanese. It's got native audio, each card has a nice photo, and there's even a breakdown of the kanji for poor souls like me who haven't yet memorized all 10,000 of them. Now again, there is the issue of can you sustain this for the...
10,000 is a low number, actually. And I should note, most Japanese people, do not know that many kanji. Nobody's memorized all the kanji. I mean, if they had, they would be like a minor celebrity as a result. We're talking, if you want to be like sort of university educated level literate in Japanese, we're talking 2,000-3,000. And different people in different like specializations have different and know different kanji. It is so like you definitely don't need to learn all 10,000. In fact, I doubt that anyone does.
The long term, because even the best flashcards can get tedious after a few months. But there is actually a flashcard listening hybrid platform that can help you stay focused for the long haul. The best app for building your vocabulary, listening mode. So we've talked about how visual...
and I would say again, listening is definitely useful, but it depends on what you're listening to. My God, where in the hell is this place? Northern Uruguay. That explains why I had absolutely no idea where that was.
Apps are inherently challenging to use long term, but we've also talked about how flashcards are the most effective way to memorize information. I believe the Greeks called that a paradox.
The thing is, language learning is not about memorizing information. That is just not how language learning, not how language acquisition works. It's not memorizing information. It is about experiencing the language in context, with sufficient points of reference to make sense out of what you're seeing and hearing. Like, sitting down and memorizing stuff is not how it works. That's just not it.
But there is one app that offers a solution. It's called Glossica, and it's basically an audio flashcard system. Glossica operates on a pretty simple concept. You hear a phrase in English, and then 2 seconds later, you hear a native speaker recite that same phrase in your target language. I'm going to watch it. You must. The phrases are simple in the beginning and get more complex over time. That's really it. There's some bells and whistles, but that's the juice. And it's...
Yeah, okay, this isn't great. There's also, like, ikuna. See, with Japanese, this is particularly bad. Because the thing is, don't go is a phrase you can say in a whole lot of different ways. Because there are different speech levels. There are different levels of politeness. Ikuna is the most, impolite possible way to tell somebody not to go. And there are all sorts of rules and things around exactly who you would use which form with. And so memorizing these things like this, bloody useless. You need the context.
It's extremely useful. Don't make the mistake of thinking that more features means a better product. It doesn't. Simple and effective. That's what we're looking for. My only caveat with Glossica is that it is not for absolute beginners. Because it doesn't include explanations and you're learning complete sentences right off.
Okay, first of all, the lack of explanations is not actually something that doesn't make it good for absolute beginners. And full sentences from day one actually is good if you have the points of reference that you need in order to begin to understand what those sentences are. You know, so like this is just his like method of evaluation. I'm just not really very impressed by here.
Off the bat, you want to have a basic handle on your target language before diving in, but after that, by all means. The best app for improving your speaking skills. A lot of language learning apps have a feature that lets you record yourself speaking, and then supposedly the app can analyze your speech and tell you if your pronunciation is off.
Yeah, which is very iffy. I have to say, I mean, that is one of the most annoying bits with Duolingo in particular. Like, with some of them, they'll have this audio version and you speak into the microphone, and even if you have fucking native pronunciation, it won't necessarily get it. Because
it doesn't work. No app can reliably correct your pronunciation yet. It's probably coming soon, but we're not there now. So if you want to improve your speaking skills in a
I would say it's coming soon. I would say it's nowhere near it now.
New language, or simply get better at making natural conversation, you need to talk with another human. And the easiest way to do that is via a language exchange platform. What is that? It's an app or a website that connects you with people from other parts of the world who can effectively tutor you in their native language. It's one of the internet's great gifts to the modern world. Now, there are two ways to go about using...
I mean, you can find people in lots of places. I mean, yeah, that's not a bad thing. But of course, it really depends. And one of the things to remember with speaking in particular is that in the process of language acquisition, there is always what is called a silent period. And you can't just sort of force yourself to be able to speak. You have to have enough of the language sort of rooted in your brain in order for that to be able to work. Once that happens, definitely, I mean, you have to be patient with yourself, but after you get to the point where you are actually able to start to have, where the passive knowledge starts to be able to come out of you, and definitely, yeah, it's a lot of speaking as much as you can get is a great thing. But it's just all about how you use it.
Using a language exchange platform, the free method and the paid method. In the free method, you set up a conversation exchange with another person, i.e. you teach them your language, they teach you their language. And if you want to go this route, your best option is HelloTalk. It's got a...
And here's the thing, it really comes down, when I say this can be a great thing, but it all depends on how people are using it. Because if people are like teaching the way, people learn that languages are taught in school and stuff like that, they will be teaching in a very ineffective way, and it's just going to be frustrating and kind of unhelpful. But if they are teaching in methods that really utilize comprehensible input in an effective way, then that can be excellent.
Massive user base and a very active community, so generally speaking, it's pretty easy to set up an exchange. But of course, you will need to spend half your time teaching your partner. In the paid method, you pay someone an hourly rate to speak with you and teach you. In my opinion, it's absolutely worth the money because you can schedule lessons whenever you want, and
okay, I'm kind of curious about this just because the idea of getting paid an hourly rate to talk to somebody in their target language would not be a terrible thing if I'm actually... Actually, I wouldn't mind that as potentially a sideline if you're actually getting all the money the person is paying in.
Teachers are usually experienced and therefore much better. And if you want to go this route, I would recommend using Preply. In my experience, it has better...
Okay, this I'm curious about, Preply.
better teachers than some similar sites, and you can also sign up for group classes, which are great if you feel like a one-on-one lesson might be a little intense, which they definitely can be. The best app to improve your reading skills. But maybe you're more interested in learning to read a new language versus speaking it. Well,
Yeah, I mean, and I should note, I mean, extensive reading in particular, where you're just kind of reading a whole lot of stuff to get the broad gist, is really an excellent way of getting started in a language if you've already got the writing system, if you have some basic vocabulary in a text that is not too challenging. You want to be able to understand at least 50% of what's going on. There are all sorts of ways that can happen. I mean, one is if you already have some foundational knowledge that allows that, but also if it's illustrated in a way that makes that possible, and all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, that can be quite good, but I notice it is time for me to start wrapping up. Let me just say thank you to everyone who's joined me. I will be back tomorrow on Twitch at 4:30 p.m. US Eastern Time. And if you've enjoyed the stream, please consider supporting the stream. That helps me continue doing this and doing my other projects like the Inessa Armand translation project. And at the moment, because of the deleterious effects of the AI grift on my profession of translation, these projects are basically my only reliable source of income at the moment, to the extent that you can call it reliable. So this really helps me keep my head above water, and I appreciate all contributions very, very much. They help me continue doing what I do. Let me also drop the link to the Inessa Armand translations. There are 15 of them up now, and more every week. For anyone who's interested in that. And with that, I'm going to just wish you a good evening, and I'm going to go and see about dinner food.